6. Before we start, I want to review and make sure that the ones that weren't here last week have those things that we handed out last week.
I gave Kevin,
Kevin George,
Kevin.
Mooney, the general contributions here. I know Clint's got his.
I think that's it.
You have an extra one there?
It's in here somewhere, I'm sure.
We'll get you one. Here's Bill. He had one last week, didn't
Yeah, I don't have
I don't
that.
know if Bill got everything or not, I did.
he? You did.
I did, but I don't know if Bill
Go
got
get
everything.
2 of these. If you-
I don't have a copy of that.
Okay, here, copy mine.
Hey, babe, let's see. That's it. Hey, Kevin, let me borrow yours because it hadn't been written on.
He don't want my notes to be copied.
He don't want your opinion.
And the other thing, Glenn is here with us again tonight, but he gave us a request for the audit committee. You know, the commissioners gave them a responsibility, but we didn't give them any funds to carry out the responsibility. And he had outlined just a bare bones budget here, $491 to do what they need to do to fulfill the job that we gave them. Did everybody get one of those?
Yeah, I just need to look at it.
Okay. Did you get one of them?
Yeah, he's looking at it.
And then last week, we went over Cannon Reed's also, and we've been doing it in the past, $4,000. That's the one that Governor Bredesen and Dolly Parton got started for the Books to Birth program. I think everybody's familiar with it, and it's on, it's listed under Imagination Library in your general fund contributions here. And that's the things that I wanted to talk about from last week to make sure that y'all had that, because the general fund contributions here, there's so many of them, but they are the fireworks and Auburntown Fire Department. Everybody on the budget committee is aware of why we give Auburntown Fire Department some, and then the Senior Citizen Center, Soil Conservation Service, and many of these things. If a citizen asks you about some of these, tell them, like, for instance, the UCDD, UCHRA, or the Soil Conservation of the Tennessee Division of Forestry. See, we give them $1,500. That keeps the Forestry Service from Tennessee here, and they bring in a lot more money, equipment, and salaries with them. And so does the USDA Natural Resource Conservation. Got an employee here in the county, several $1,000s come in through that office every year, and we just pay $6,500 toward the secretary's salary. Any questions on the general contributions before I go to the biggest one on there? You've gone from the smallest one, Neil, on this whole list of, let's see, about 12 different things. Your request would put you at the top of the list. But we're going to start tonight with you, and just keep that out, because Neil Applebaum is here. He represents the Chamber of Commerce, and you're the chairman of the chamber now, right?
President, I think that's the...
Or whatever. And
doesn't make a difference.
we've been giving them $50 a year. And have you got the little sheet there that shows the other counties what they give?
So it's
Give everybody one of them.
Two-sided, if you guys just pass those down. I think I have 7 with me, so I can give it one. So
Have a seat there if you
if
need
you'd
to.
like to contrast the county's $50 contribution to the nearby counties and nearby counties of comparable size, the $50 falls on the low end of things. The other counties consider the Chamber of Commerce integral to county function, and we'd like to think we're integral, but we can only generate so much out of chamber member dues. So part of this is finding out how you guys feel about the chamber. Should we, there's only so much volunteering that we can do after a certain point. The outside world expects us to have a paid professional staff doing something. So on the backside, there's a very rough breakdown of how we would like to spend $10,000. It's adding an extra $100 a week to staff, payroll taxes that go with that, enough gas to drive around and meet with people they need to meet with. We have no advertising budget to speak of. This would contribute towards that, and then some phone dollars. It's $10,000 goes very quickly if you're trying to, pay someone to represent the county. Our current budget, as the chamber, is $9,500. $1,000 of that is from the city. $2,500 of that is fundraising events, which we'd like to get out of the business of being in fundraising events. Our job should not be fundraising to keep our doors open. Our job should be marketing the county. But in the meantime, we'll keep doing that because we need to fill our budget as well. The rest of the budget comes from member dues.
And one of your fundraising projects is the Color Falls Car Show.
That's the one that really makes money.
But it's weather sensitive, and that causes them to have, a lot of their fundraising is on that weekend. Of course, October usually has a lot of good weather, but it's given us a good visibility to people that are around, and the car show is very well attended. And Arna Smithson was valuable in getting it started in a good way and getting a lot of people to come to it. And then that gives them an opportunity to see Woodbury and Cannon County too, that might not be traveling here.
It gets us in the press. Anything that gets us in the press, well, most things that get us in the press are good for us. One of the other things that's part of our budget is, we spend $1,800 a year, which is, cheap for office space, but it covers our office space and utilities. Again, we think we're representing the county, but we don't have a county-provided office, so, if there's ways to negotiate the $10,000 request, and trade part of that for office space or something like that, office space that makes sense, that's visible, I think there's lots of flexibility on our end. I guess we're looking for sort of a long-term commitment, or so that we can plan appropriately as to what you guys want our role to be.
Who owns the office space y'all are renting now?
Bernie Combs owns that building.
Okay, so y'all rent from Bernie?
Yeah, we pay $150 a month. And then we pay our phone on top of that, internet on top of that.
As member dues, is that the businesses that,
Yes. It's actually, in this case, it's a lot of individuals and businesses. There's lots of just individuals that contribute $25 or $50 a year.
I mean, now I was looking here at the comparison to other counties, and Clay County, which is Salina, isn't that right? That Salina?
yeah.
I believe so.
And they're generating that much money through a hotel motel
Is
tax?
there a lake up there?
Yes.
Del Holla.
That's what that is.
That is correct. All that. Never mind. Okay.
That's been suggested, a real estate, a hotel motel tax. The two hotels, the Bed and Breakfast and the Kennedy have both agreed that they're okay with the tax, but when Doug Bodry crunched the numbers, it comes to $1,000 a year. So that's $1,000 that's
Okay.
positive for us.
Well, I
but
just had seen that Clay County, that number popped out at me.
The
and I was like,
population, right.
I was like, wow. Well, I fish at Del Holla a bunch, and I love it. I'm now about that. Okay, it makes sense now. Okay.
One of the things that we're just starting, we're working with Rutherford County on bus tours, and hopefully that's 50 to 100 people a week. And at $35 a head, that's another $1,500 a week of revenue into Cannon County. And obviously, we'll try to do that every week of the year, and that's just sort of focusing initially on Rutherford County. We're in touch with their chamber, and they're reviewing the plan, and they'll fine-tune that and get back to us, and then we'll start marketing it. So I think that's another $75,000 a year of revenue, and marketing and, visibility for us. So we'd like to be doing more of that, but there's only
The
so many
readable
hours in a
meal
day.
is in Cannon County.
Yes, sir.
And in March, they partnered with, put their name on for a tour that was coming from a convention in Nashville
Okay.
that was having at Opryland. And people from all over the United States were at that convention. It was an agricultural convention. That's why I knew about it. But one of the stops, they had three, conventions will have tours that you can, if you come into the convention, you can, maybe the man's going to go to meetings and the wife wants to go out on a tour. And they'd have the tour of the Stars Homes in Nashville, and then one was of Jack Daniels down at Lynchburg, and then another one was walking horse tour around Cheville. But one of the tours came to Readable Mill and had lunch there at the mill. You know, and it was, I believe it was $52 is what it cost per person to go on that tour, and it was supposed to be 3 or 4 hours. You know, they was gonna get a bus there at Opryland Hotel, bring them all the way out to Reedville, and let them eat lunch and look at the grounds. And that was in March, when, you know, to us, that'd be the dead of winter almost, the first week of March. But I'm gonna ask them how many came on that. But that's something, you know, that he could get their name in the pot. If that worked good for him, get his name in the pot for more conventions, because there are going to be conventions coming to Nashville all the time. And even if you're just one of the choices, it helps. You know, because if you got 30 people, that will get the word out, and then they might tell somebody else, and they tell somebody else.
Right, so at the moment, we've got the idea of something called the Shine Tour structure between the art center, the mill, and the distillery, and stopping on the square on the way out, and that includes lunch and stops at all those places.
And the antique places. That same week, I had visitors from Idaho, 8 of them, 4 couples, and we brought them up here to the square, and I couldn't hardly get them away because they wanted to look at all these antique stores, you see.
I
And,
remember seeing you, tried to get you to buy something from me.
oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I had all those.
Well, the only thing, take them to outside the city limits, because that's what we get home. Bring them inside. But seriously, if
So the
this-
mill and the distillery.
mill is outside.
Yeah,
the
it worked
county
better for
get-
us.
The county gets that, and I'm gonna tell you something else, the state officials told us yesterday, Neil knows more about this, they're expecting a lot of people a year to come in here to those, that new,
The wildlife
watershed.
management. area.
Headlands
there's a lot of
Wildlife
hikers.
They're
Management.
gonna, hopefully
think-
gonna build hiking trails and do all
I
that.
think you were credited to help some of that too. I think we're getting that place the way it was, wasn't it? Were you? Thank you.
We need to promote that. We need
He
to
was
promote-
more than a little bit.
That's what I was. I think he was being modest. I really
He
do.
was a huge one. If Neil had not pushed that for 6 years, it would have never happened.
You're right.
And there were the U.S. Marshals from the federal courthouse in Nashville were there yesterday, invited, of course, because they were even convinced that it was a good thing to give up what they would have gotten from all that being sold and you know, divided up between all the different groups.
Hopefully this will.
Did Warren County, did they finally did they get something? What did Warren County do?
Something called the Burn Grant, and I think they timed it so they got it twice, like just, you know, before and after a year end a couple of years ago. So some money that they could build the drug interdiction center that they wanted to, you know, pay for with their share of the proceeds from this.
Everyone
From the
gave
sale.
up their share except Warren.
Except Warren County. Yeah.
But they did something or nothing.
They got $300,000 out of the back pocket, basically.
Okay. They got another grant to take
To
place of
take
that.
the place of this.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone else walked
And see,
away
it
from the
takes
money.
somebody on the phone or on the internet or something to work deals like that, to convince people, well, this would be the best way to proceed forward and be better for all of us.
He was lucky too. Governor Bredesen at the time was big on that type of thing, and he helped, and I guess Haslam has helped since.
He hasn't stopped it. I don't know that he's personally aware of any of
But
this.
he didn't stop it.
Right.
Neil and I went to McMinnville and met with them that day, and we was laughing about it the other day, and I don't deserve any credit. He did all the work, I'll tell you up right up front. But we went to McMinnville, and we both left. We didn't dream it happened, did we?
And that was the strangest meeting of my life.
Yeah,
Just,
we had feds, we had the McMinnville sheriff, we had all of them there, and I thought
everyone in the
they-
room had a gun. This side of the room didn't like that side of the room.
That's right. It was almost like the Hatfields and McCoys. And McMinnville let us know, or Warren County Sheriff let us know right quick, they wanted their money. And when we left, I was thinking, Neil's not too sharp, because he's going to do a lot of work on this. It'll never happen. But it did. It did happen.
Ultimately, I found a friend of Bredeson's who was willing to throw a lot of money at the situation, and that was enough to convince the state
That's
to just
what
get
And
it done.
persistence pays sometimes.
He didn't leave them alone. He'd like to worry them to death. And that's what it takes.
Neil,
But we had to tell y'all, you were,
Yeah, I was there,
there
yeah.
was about 150 people there, I
There was
guess.
several, yeah.
It was nice.
And, you know,
What are the plans for as far as opening it up and doing?
they're gonna have hiking trails, places,
game hunting.
small game hunting, is that right? And,
Something else. Hiking
Well, they're calling it wildlife viewing. That's mainly the hiking trails that go on River Road, and where we were yesterday, that cave that you couldn't see that's behind the tree line, I think they don't want anybody to do anything other than like walk around and watch stuff, because the species in there don't exist anywhere else. So
In the cave.
in that cave. So it's important
It's
that
gonna
that's
be neat. Yeah, I think
Good for
it'll bring,
research.
it'll take it
It's gonna be like a
4
small, big South Fork.
very small.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean, though.
It's
The way
going, I think it's gonna bring.
Well, it's the first time we can
people-
market that we have hiking trails, that we have recreation, public access, and public, lands for people to come visit. And it's, onshore mountain, it's interesting. The terrain's, not like you're gonna see in Rutherford County.
Are they gonna be able to connect any of the parcels with the trail that, or get an easement, or anything like that?
I think that's long-term planning, and I don't think I don't think anyone was prepared to think past yesterday's event. So we'll find out.
Well, when I looked at the map and saw that they were, several tracks, and 2 of them pretty good sized tracks, but they aren't contiguous. It would be good if you had a trail where you could, walk from one to the other.
I hope that will all happen. That's certainly the way the Parks and Greenways Foundation likes to do things, but it's totally up, to TVA to decide how they want to proceed. What wasn't on that map is all the property owned by the Walking Horse Association, by the Adamses, under the Bible camp, and then additional property they bought. So if you look at all the green space on that map, it's actually 2 or 3 times what was visible.
Oh, yes, yeah, that's
So
right.
maybe
4,000 acres,
ideally,
right?
we can link a lot of those things together.
And what the Adams is owned, is it, does David Lipscomb University, do they have a lease on it for,
No, the Bible camp itself has the lease. The Bible Camp Corporation has the 99.
they're
lease.
incorporated themselves? All right.
Neil, on the 5,200, that's just to expand or extend her hours, or?
I don't think we've decided that.
Okay.
I think if we find that we have money, I think the board will have a long-term, sit-down kind of conversation about what we're trying to accomplish staff-wise there.
One thing I notice, and usually when something comes up, I compare us to DeKalb County, because in a way, they're our close kindred, you might say. You look at population, we're about 2/3 or a little over of DeKalb County. They're putting 15,000, and the city's putting 10. So, well, they've got.
And gives them space, and gives them a copy machine.
Yeah, that's not on there, or is it? No. Yeah, it is on there. But we've got some things. Now, I'm not on the budget committee, I'm just telling you, from my office, I see this. We've got some things that in the next few years could very easily bring a lot of people to the county. One being the distillery. My understanding, they're going to build a small restaurant and museum up there, and a warehouse. They're getting into more
Products.
Products, what I'm trying to say. And then you've got that wildlife management thing, Pea Ridge, and now you've got the headwaters and all that, walking. We really need somebody out there pushing the county things, because we don't need them just come to Woodbury and look at antique places. We need them out in the county, But Miss Debbie Bahama told me today, you would not believe how many people in Warren County were coming to their antique store now. For some reason, she said in the last year, it has just hit Warren County wide open, and she said, we've got people coming down here every day to Warren County, and they've had a bunch from Rutherford. Farmers market's another thing.
Yeah, that's another
There's a
thing.
lot of people my wife works with in Rutherford County come to Cannon County and during the season at the farmers market. And the square. I had a guy tell me I cooked for it. They said, what are y'all doing down there? And I said, what do you mean? He said, the square is beautiful. And said, every time I come through there, there's an event around the courthouse. So, that's good.
Talk is good.
That's good.
I'll get back to me. I was going to ask a question. Now I can't remember now.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're right. Oh, I should have wrote it down.
Have y'all kind of talked with the Bible camp up there to try to get in with them with the headwaters thing, kind of work together on that, or is there nothing really there that y'all could do together? Or?
I'm not sure we can do anything. I think their first responsibility is a safety security thing for all the campers. So I think they've got to put that first, so I'm not sure that they're going to want.
Public
strangers.
access.
Yeah.
What's
Have y'all
that?
seen the Tennessean today?
I think we did okay again.
In the local, we got front page of the local B section, very, very good, right?
And we had front page 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And a fall other page.
Neil, my question came back to me. This 10,000 you're asking for, I mean, as it shows standing out, it's showing the city posting 1,000. Were they, have y'all asked them for any more money, or
I think if you guys,
it'd be
I
something,
would certainly go back to them if
say,
they-
look, the county did this, you think you could ever get them to match it? Would that,
I don't think I can make that decision.
I mean, I'm asking you,
I
I mean, I'm not asking you to make that decision, but I'm asking you, feel
I'll
like.
say this, he'll worry until they'll be glad to match it.
I will ask.
I mean, like I said, with that, I know with the money we're giving you, I know there's a lot of things that could be done and I'd like to see them be done. Would that be I know it'd be a lot better than what we had been getting, I know.
We will.
So, I know, would that be sufficient enough to get a good plan started and get something moving in the right
I
direction?
think it's a good way for us to test ourselves and for you to like not overcommit. And if we've done a terrible job a year from now, then, you know, you pull back. But I think we need to see what we can pull off in a year. So.
I feel fully confident that y'all will exceed what we probably need. You know, I don't think that's an issue
I don't
at
know
all.
how Carolyn does what she does, and I thought she worked more hours than that, 15
No,
hours.
she works 15 and does another 10
She gets
for free,
paid for
basically.
15,
Yeah.
and she works more than 15, doesn't she?
Does the city contribution, is that what they've been doing, or is that?
They cut us down to 1,000. I don't know if that's last year's budget or this year's budget. I apologize for not knowing that. They had been at 1,500. And
Oh.
for some reason, they cut it back by 500.
Okay.
Any other questions, anybody for Neil?
Like the marketing and stuff.
We have no budget to pay for advertising.
I mean,
Sorry.
if we're speaking with the money that we awarded, you know, allowed y'all this 10,000, what kind of marketing program would you be, like, what areas and how would you be marketing? And what would you be marketing and to that?
I don't think I have the answer.
I mean, I'm
But it's
just-
$2,000 a year that would potentially.
That's
let us
kinda
pay
what
for
I'm-
some advertising space that we would probably direct over our biggest events and, you know, probably
Okay.
market
I mean,
to
I'm
Rutherford
just-
County, because that's the biggest audience, the biggest, closest audience.
I guess more or less is if we kind
So
of
it would be better to advertise in Rutherford and Warren counties, or even Coffee County, than to, say, take an ad out in Southern Living or something.
I think we have enough good things going on. I believe in free advertising, and that means we get our stories covered. So it's much better for us to like buy someone lunch who's a writer for a newspaper or a magazine than it is for us to pay for an ad. So I'd rather spend the time on the phone and even driving to those people or getting them here than paying for advertising that way.
That's a pretty good idea.
Very smart.
yeah, very, very smart.
Okay. Anybody else got a question?
How much did you say it would raise, Neil, if we done the hotel motel tax with the two?
It's just $1,000 based on,
Still.
you know, their pass-through, you know, based on, sorry, not pass-through is not a word, but based on like the customers they have going through and then
Pass
running
revenue,
the
I
tax, you know, rate at, you know, just below the maximum possible.
Cannon Inn is a little bit fuller now than they have been because of the workers on the bridge up here and workers out at East Side on the road. There's, instead of going back to Nashville or wherever they live there, some of them are staying at Cannon Inn every
They
night.
say they're very busy. I haven't seen their numbers. I don't think they'll actually open their
And
books to me,
it
but
may
they're
not be.
very pleased.
What I'm saying is that they may not be as full next year as they are this year, but they're busy right now.
I was looking at Smith County, it says, office provided by a grant. I mean,
I think, Clint, they
is
got a
that-
big grant.
is that a one-time or a yearly or?
Well, if they're in that new building,
I think they got a new building for free.
I mean, what I'm asking is could
they got a
we-
CDBG is grants, what we, Community Development Block Grants, I think. Now, I don't know.
This is the whole incubator building. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, they got
That,
$1 million building, so
yeah.
it's supposed to do a whole lot of other things just besides provide a little
There was
office.
a lot of
Okay.
grants and stuff in there.
I mean, are we-
They're in that building.
I mean, grants are, I know there are probably a lot, I've never wrote one myself, but I know they can be a lot of work, but if somebody's willing to do that, would,
The first week I was in this role, I called about why Van Buren has a grant, that 17.5. I said, put us on the list immediately, you know, why aren't we on that
Right.
list? And there's all kinds of reasons why Van Buren got that grant. It's also only a one-time grant, but I asked that we be put on the list. We're not a distressed county,
Right.
so that lowers our likelihood.
Warren
For-
is and we're not.
Is that right?
We're too, I think Warren is.
Too close to
I know
national.
on charging on ambulance, Warren gets more from
Yeah.
feds than we do because see, we got so many people working.
What'll happen to the USDA building out here when it closes?
Is it definitely closing or being?
Well, they're
or the
moving,
lease
part
systems?
of it will move to Smithville.
Because half of the office.
Half of the office is the FSA and half of it is NRCS. Now Pam is the lead employee for the NRCS, and she's already been over DeKalb County for about 2 years now, overseeing whoever works over there. And since she's the lead, one with the most seniority, she gets to stay here. Now, whether USDA will keep, Hutchins owns that building though. I mean, he'll rent to somebody else. He might rent half of it to somebody else. We don't know.
That might be an opportunity maybe for the chamber.
And we're fine with, you know, we don't need more square
But now
footage than
Bernie's
we
giving
have.
them a better deal than the.
Right, I mean-
Yeah,
Yeah.
$50 is fine.
I guarantee
It's
you
just,
that.
You know, we're paying for it out of member dues.
I mean, I was just looking at maybe something a little more,
Yeah.
maybe a little more visible, you know.
Would something on the square?
Would be ideal.
Is there something you have in particular in mind you would?
I think your jail is committed. I'd
Which
like-
jail? Which?
I'd like the old jail,
The old jail?
yep. But I think there's a very serious tenant in there, and so I'm not asking that they
If
be
they
displaced.
leave, if they don't pay any rent, so if they were to leave, I'm all for letting you have it. But right now, paying no rent, they're probably not going.
It's hard to find a better deal.
Yeah.
Any more questions for Neil?
I noticed he's asking 10.
Yes, sir.
That's exactly 2/3 of what DeKalb gives there. So that's kind of staying in line with DeKalb and going population and all. I noticed that.
All right. If nobody has any questions, thank you very much
Thank you, everybody.
for meeting with us. And I wish all the commissioners could have been up there yesterday and seen what, you know, persistence and work will bring forward.
So it was nice.
A lot of good publicity for us, and being in the Tennessean, you know,
Doesn't hurt.
that doesn't hurt at all.
Turn a drug bust into something.
I went
positive.
to the Hooper Supply 2 weeks ago, and they had the Tennessean laying out on the counter in Murfreesboro, you know, agricultural supply place. And I looked at it, well, there's Neil right there. So I
Sorry, but I wasn't expecting that.
PWRA, the executive director that spoke up there,
Ed Carter?
what?
Ed Carter.
He's a first cousin to Dolly Parton, I found out. And the DeKalb County executive was a 30-year game warden, and him and Ed went to work at the same time, or Mr. Carter, whatever his name. And he's a cousin to Dolly Parton, and he's like half Cherokee. And he's a fine fellow. I talked to him, and I told him, I said, you need to get us send as many people this way, you know. And he said he would help us any way he could, you know, with our resources to get tourists in here.
We have an excellent TWRA guy, you know, in the county now.
That
Mark Vance
he's a good
is
guy,
incredible.
too. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, anybody? Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neil.
Okay. Next, we'll consider solid waste, and then after Mike's handing it out.
Everybody at the table get one.
All right. The solid waste, as you know, is on its own standalone budget, and it's we've been putting a tax anticipation note in it every year to get started, and it runs sort of bare bones. total local taxes on page 24, total local taxes are 439, 536. And then charges for current services, 15,000. The tire grant, 2,900. The city of Woodbury gives us $40,000, and it hasn't gone up in how many years?
Has it gone up since
I don't
I've
think it's ever gone
been-
up.
I don't think it's gone
I
up
wish-
since I've been in
I
office.
wish the ones that had originally made that agreement had had it indexed to inflation or something. Because $40,000 won't go where it, as far as it used to go. That aside, total estimated revenues of $497,436. And then going on down the page to expenditures, 50. Yes.
Up in the top there, the interest, or what is it, payment in lieu of taxes local, 25,000 that we had that we're not getting. What's that?
We're at,
Right
40,
there.
4140.
Yeah.
I had a
The 40.
page about that.
4162.
Yeah, 4160, I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize.
Kevin asked that question on another budget.
guys, I
And
don't know.
they brought
I don't
us,
know.
I mean, it's only that 1 year, it
Yeah.
wasn't before, it wasn't last year, it's this year, it's not next year.
It's not a grant. Payment in lieu.
is that something where we got money back from somewhere? Just a minute.
What, did they sell the, didn't this property for sale
What property?
beside the dump? And they didn't sell here recently? Was that something was that it?
No, because we don't, but the county didn't know.
Okay, I thought the county,
No,
okay.
that wouldn't have been it.
Okay.
I'll find out. You put 2 more cents last year in your benefiting, but that still wasn't an increase in revenue because we've been transferring out of county general. So, I mean, hopefully we won't, 2 cents be 40,000, so.
As we hold on that question, we'll come right back to it.
Y'all go
Yeah,
ahead
you
and
go
I'll
ahead.
find out.
Let's go down, and that's, I hadn't noticed as we look right down through there, that's either something that was sold and put in it, or something. He'll find out. Laborers, 41,656, overtime, 1,000. Social Security, Medicare communication, there's 575, that's the same. Contracts with other public agencies, that's your tipping fees at Middle Point Landfill at Walter Hill. Maintenance agreement with State of Tennessee, 1,500, same as last year. Maintenance repair on equipment, 18,000. Vehicles, 6,000. 300 for other contracted services. Gasoline, 4,300. Utilities, 3,000. Other supplies, 2,000. And then the trustees commission, 8,000. For a grand total of 509,596.
On that gasoline, is that just for what?
For the little Ford tractor that's up there, that they
And the
load
chipper, I
cardboard
guess.
with, the chipper, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what else runs on gasoline, what else?
There's gotta be $4,300.
That's a lot of
That's
gas.
a lot.
That's
That's 1,000 gallons, give or
the,
take.
do they furnish the gas for the truck that picks up litter?
Which,
It's
The
bought at
city?
co-op.
No,
Would that be on-
no, the truck that picks up the litter on the,
Yeah,
the
oh, I don't
litter
know.
grant truck.
well, that'd be on that litter grant, wouldn't
Does it, yeah, well, I don't know if it goes for gasoline or
Well,
not.
look under that litter grant.
We'll find out.
I mean, I just seen that and this popped out at me. That's a lot of money for gas. I was,
Oh, yeah, that's
That's,
over 1,000, that's 1,200 gallons
yeah,
of gas.
yeah.
And more than that,
yeah,
that's
that's half,
1,500.
that's half of what it's costing our fire departments, their fuel budget is just to be up here to dump.
We'll ask that question.
And let me answer that question.
Okay.
That's part of your property taxes. This new computer system in Wayne's office breaks it down between property and utilities. So that's solid waste share out of the utility property tax. Had it been the old system, that 25,000 would have been up here under current property taxes.
Just moved it from somewhere else, is what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah, you notice next year got 361, there's 341, so, that, all it does,
Okay.
that computer system distinguishes property tax, whether it's utility or non-utility. She said she started just added on there and she was afraid that people would, and it's listed there, but that's what I do.
Our next question is the gasoline line item 425, $4,300. That's 1,200 gallons of gas at least,
Where you at?
right here.
Page 25.
What all burns that?
Diesel for the tractor.
Oh, it's not gasoline, it's just fuel.
Well, now gasoline mostly because, it would
The
be.
little
fuel.
Ford tractor is diesel then, isn't it?
But
The Ford tractor's diesel,
But
but the
everything's
truck.
considered-
And see,
you're-
we go around and make our rounds, Oakley does, and picks up cargo.
Okay.
So we go to Woodland School,
Okay.
we go to Woodbury High School, Woodbury Grammar School, the nursing home. There's 10 or 15 places. We own the trailers that are set, Rite Aid.
Right.
Parsley's Market, Joel's. We got trailers at all those businesses, and they put their cardboard
No,
on. That's what it is.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know.
Mostly, it is mostly gas, but it's.
Well, let me ask you this question. The litter grant that the inmates do, the fuel in that truck,
That's
does
paid
it come
by-
off it, or
no.
is it paid by the grant?
It's paid with the grant.
Okay.
We charge the grant. The grant pays for Russell's salary, it pays for repairs to a certain point, if you don't have too many repairs. And we got a pretty good truck now, and it pays for the fuel. That's about it.
Okay. Now, you're anticipating the fund balance to go into the negative again, but the $200,000 that we put in there will take care of that, and then we'll be able to pay it back out before the end of the year, right?
200,000 we borrowed from debt service.
Yeah, tax anticipation note. about that.
Oh, no, I've already paid that back.
You've already paid it back? Are you gonna do it again this next year?
Oh, we'll have to. See,
You
our
have to.
money won't come in for
Yeah,
3 or 4 months.
you'll have to do that.
But you have to pay it back within the fiscal year, or they will stop you. The comptroller's office will not allow you to borrow it anymore. So I borrowed 200, well, you see 200
Yeah,
every year.
every year, yeah.
Used to borrow 400 for county general. I think we only borrowed 2 this year because we had good fund balance. And we paid, I pay this back usually around March, April, when we get our money, because I don't want to be held
Well, yeah,
owing it.
But, and I don't mean to interrupt,
No, go
while I
ahead.
got
go
this
ahead.
on my mind, but I
Go-
can forget.
Go ahead, go.
But go back to this payment in lieu of taxes, you got 25,735 there that come in this year. If we move that over there next year, won't that be coming in again next year?
See, that's what
I
Well,
can't
but I think
understand
you-
why it isn't in there with.
Because
like
if you
it's
move,
built in
if you
that.
move that over, then you're in the red, I mean, in the black.
Let me
But
find out.
is the 25 up there in the 361 though? I think that's,
That's what it looks like.
I think that's what you're
But it
saying.
shouldn't be, if that computer
So we had 341 last year at the top line, and now it's 361?
right.
Yeah.
If you had, if you had the 25.
I see what you're saying, I hope you're right.
I wish I was.
I hope you're right.
Well, we'll find out.
But now, how much at this point,
Well,
at
the-
this point last year were we, in the, we had to transfer how many thousand last year?
43,000.
How much?
Was it 43,000?
I think it's
40
40
I
something.
think it's more than that. Why do we not show that in lieu of taxes for next year?
It's up at the top.
We're gonna have to keep calling her, she's supposed to
She's about to forget it.
Put her on speakerphone.
So, no, that's fine, I just didn't know, but now 341 to 361 is 20,000, so we could actually, that 361 be bumped up some, because if you add 341 and 25, that's more than 361. So what I'm saying?
You built up 5,000.
Add another 5, yeah.
Well,
5,000.
just take the
Still-
341
Okay.
and add the whole
Okay.
$25,735 back to it.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry to bother you. But, The reason she did that, it's in your current property taxes, and the reason it's only 20,000 instead of 25, she just factored in what Donald told her times 18 cents. And that's what the figures come to. She said it could actually be a little more than
And at the present time, we're getting 18 cents,
that, 18 cents.
solid waste is.
And what's changed under number 399, where it was $4,020, and now you're saying $300, and the year before it was zero?
Contracted services,
It's on the next page, Kevin.
on the top page 25.
399, 55, 399. Or 399.
The only thing I can figure that is the other employee that I have to bring in when somebody's sick or whatever. Guess what?
See, I mean,
Other contracted service.
this year you had, 4,000 expense.
Yeah.
Last year it was zero, but then it was coming
James, you're
here.
asking some hard questions.
Well, it's very black and
I
white.
know it. I should know that. Be honest with you,
Leave
Diane.
her on hold till we finish.
Hey, always have a good person working with you.
Amen.
And what really makes me feel stupid is when I find out, I always think, I knew that. But
I think that's the only other question I can see.
can you stay on hold for about an hour? James Atkins asked, hey, other contracted services, last year, 10, 11, 0, the year we're in now, $4,020. Next year you estimate 300. What is that? That's what I told him. Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you. But, hey, I've got Donnie Gaither that works when our guys are on vacation, or if I have to have extra, that's what it, and what now we listed him. That was paid in what we call a vendor check, and then he has to pay income on his own. and
His
all
own
that.
social security.
So we have named him,
1099.
we
Yeah.
put him on as a, part-time employee. That's what I thought it was, but.
My question was, when
So
we-
what he does, if Andy Parker or Oakley wants off and he works, I deduct what they would have made that day, and I give that to Donnie Gaither. That's Donnie Gaither's what that is.
On that the solid waste board, Thea was supposed to speak the other night and let us know, inform us about how and what they're,
She is going to speak at the Saturday meeting and have somebody with her, Thea Prince is, to the whole commission.
Did you have a question?
well, no, I was just, what I was curious about is how they, if they had, they were talking about contracting out, if that had been doing,
Yeah, they're
to
looking.
find
at-
out, just to see, just money wise, if it's, how much it'll better us, if it will better us.
They're looking at a lot of stuff.
I mean, I didn't know if-
Long term that, when you bring the state in, they go crazy sometimes, and they're looking at maybe making us a hub for several counties. That means you're gonna be collecting, as long as I'm county executive, I'm not gonna go along with that, because you're gonna have all kind of big dump trucks and stuff coming in here from surrounding counties, going over there, and we'll be a site.
Walter Hill would like for us to have BFI.
Yeah. Here's what
I'd rather
Whether-
stay down there.
whether you like it or not, for 2 more years, I'm the county executive, so what I want to do, I don't want this to be a garbage collection county. That's, so what and I'm a little different from that committee in that respect. What I want to do is July 1, is get BFI to go ahead and honor that, what they told me they would knock off per ton. And Mike Cordy's working on a bid for Mike Pimpleton now, and hopefully he'll get the bid.
I was just
Yeah.
curious that we hadn't
But that's
heard
what
nothing
they're
reports
looking
back
at.
from them, because I was curious if they would, if
Well,
they heard anything.
they've been told from some advisors that they could do that type of thing and actually pay for it. But I'm not sure people in this county wants garbage trucks running through town just like these dump trucks.
I don't know, that's the thing to say, I think there's been a slack
Yeah,
over those
with the
dump
dump
trucks.
trucks, you can see, well, they're going to build us a good road from here east.
And then when they get down,
And
they're
they're improving
gone.
this bridge out here that's a bottleneck, every time the high school turns out. That's going to be a great improvement.
Ball games.
And people realize that, but when you go to putting, bringing other counties' garbage in
Well,
here,
the argument was we can get all this and you compacted this free stuff and all that, but the first thing they say, well, you don't have enough room. Well, if it's gonna be that many trucks, you take that big of equipment, that means 5 or 6 counties hauling their garbage here and this being a meeting site, and then we take it to Chattanooga or somewhere.
Basically a transfer station.
Yeah.
A
And I don't,
huge
I don't foresee Cannon County and Woodbury being a garbage transfer station. And that, I'm not for that at all.
I know it has to go somewhere,
It's
but as
going
long as
where
it
it ought
can
to
go
be.
somewhere else, I'm
Yeah.
satisfied with it.
Now, we wouldn't be keeping it, but we'd be, like he said.
Just
But if
hold
he,
it.
It could sit here though for a day or two,
Yeah, it could easily.
And the truck traffic
BFI
would be,
right down this
I'm
road.
gonna tell you something, guys, BFI is good to work with. They are, they're good to work with.
Hey, you talking, can you tell how much, you talking negotiating the new price, how much cheaper?
He told me and I believe he'll stick with it. I've been trying to work another deal out and we never could do that, but he told me he dropped it $6.
And we were paying what, 30?
35 something, he dropped it 29 1/4.
So what's about how much, what difference a year?
That'd save us, if I, just in my head, don't hold me this, around 30 to 40,000. I think that's right, don't hold me to that.
any other questions on solid waste?
No.
Where in the revenues does it show the sale of cardboard, scrap metal and all that?
I think it'd be in your, well, it won't be in this one, it'll be on your main budget, wouldn't it?
Looks like to me.
In this,
That's what I'd say, because it would go right back into this one.
All the metal and everything else too.
Don't call her again, just.
15,000, I'm pretty sure.
Just
Said
15,000?
Commercial and industrial waste collection charge.
Uh-huh.
She puts that in there. It's, cardboard has really been selling good and we're getting a lot more for scrap metal. It's gone up. And I probably have lost some over the years, and I think I've got that stopped now, plus, and I thought tires was killing us. Tires are really not hurting us. About $1,000, $1,200 a month is what tires cost us to dispose of
It's
them.
cheaper than having them sitting everywhere
Oh,
else.
and plus we get, well, no, I
Where do
did
they come from?
They come from all these. See, we get about $3,000. We take, the co-op, see, has their own trailer. So
Right.
that, we get them from Davenport's.
Okay, just
There's
the
several,
small
no,
worker.
and if you got 4 or 5 you want to bring.
Right.
Now, and I'm
Does
not
Cooper
going,
over at Auburn bring any?
he used to, but I don't think he brings them now, but there's several, 5 or 6 brings a lot. Co-op, see, co-op kept her truck full all the time, so I got it arranged. They're paying for that, they're paying $100 a trailer, and they drop it at the co-op, it's handier for them, and it works better for us. The only thing, and just Martin Daniel, Martin bought some old land or something, and over the years, somebody throwed out 100 tires or something, and I take them, because I don't want 100 tires laying out here polluting the land. But I make sure they're you're going to hear all kinds of tales, they're not Cannon County tires. Have we ever taken one from out of the county? Probably, I don't know of it, but now they're Cannon County tires. They really are.
Back to the, the $1,000. The numbers just doesn't make sense, but you were saying you took it out of contracted and put it into salary. Well, see, the salaries didn't change.
No, we didn't take that out. We paid him $4,000 contracted services, so we signed him up. She probably doesn't have, well, she only got $300 in it.
I know, but you're saying he's gonna be paid. He's gonna be paid
Out of $149?
He's gonna be paid that $4,000.
No, I hope I don't need him that much, but I'm putting him on regular payroll. He'll be paid out of regular payroll, and I'm deducting it from their check and putting it over into him.
So it's a wash.
It's a
Okay.
wash, yeah.
All right.
What was happening?
But it wasn't this year.
No, it wasn't this
Okay.
year because we used him extra a lot this year. I got behind on my brush and things like that. Plus Andy is a new employee and I needed extra help with him. But now next year we're planning on hopefully not having, if things go as planned, never having 3 there at one time. If Andy needs a day off, I take money out of Andy's check and put it over here. That's what we're hoping to do.
Any other questions? All right. Next, we'll consider the community center and then the rescue squad.
community center here?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Hey,
I was thinking of
if you
senior
see any more
citizen.
questions, and Diane's better at answering than I am, because she works it every day. I, call her,
What
call me.
page on our budget is that on, do you know?
I'm clear.
Just a minute.
What page is it? Somebody-
It's in your regular budget.
22?
Blue or red? 22 in the red.
It's just the one I'm doing.
You need to look.
No. I about just got it memorized.
All right. There's the center, and there's the rest of it. Okay, when I get
Where
ready.
you running off of?
Page 22.
It's the blue one, but it's this.
Parks and Fire Board's down at the community center.
All right,
Yeah, I've got so many different copies, I don't know which one y'all looking at.
we're on page 22.
There you go.
Got there? Okay. 6195 for your assistants. That's your lifeguards, is that right, or not?
Assistant at Irene.
Okay. Which, tell me when we get to the lifeguards and
Okay.
stuff, man, okay.
That's the third one down.
Okay, and then the director, 21,525,
They're looking at the red.
and then
copy.
other salaries, there's your
There's the
lifeguard,
lifeguard.
okay.
Everything else should be the same.
What did you factor in as a raise? 3?
5.
5% of the raise is 5.
All these have a 5%
Them top
rate?
three got 5% on it.
Okay, okay. Now, in-service training, $200. Social Security, retirement, Medicare, all are functions of the salaries. Communications, $600, that's the phone. Dues and memberships.
I'm gonna ask before James does. Had 340 in 2010, 2011, nothing this year, and then we went back to 340. Why did we have nothing this year?
Which one?
Dues and
Dues and membership.
Dues and memberships.
See, we had that there in 2010, 2011. We had nothing this year, and now we're asking for 340 again next year.
What
Call
dues,
Diane.
what dues,
I don't, that is pool permit.
we don't
Is it a
get,
2-year?
we don't get it every year?
Yeah.
Is it a 2-year deal?
I don't know why it wasn't in there last year. I don't know.
That's the
'Cause it was
permit,
there.
permit from the state to have a pool,
Right.
public pool.
Yeah, that's what that is.
All right,
Did you beat them out?
and we will,
No, I guarantee you.
we'll find out about that, Kevin.
Make a note of that.
I have right here, question mark right there. Okay, then maintenance and repair on the buildings, $3,400, that's the same as last year. Maintenance and repair on equipment, $160 is the request. It's not a big deal. And then the next page, okay. Travel, $100. Custodial supplies, $400. Gasoline for mowing, $525. Office supplies, $300. That's an increase of 2 from 2
On which one?
on line at $435.
Office supplies?
Yeah, office supplies.
Yeah, that's where the office supplies is where I do the advertising through the courier, you know, and I
Okay.
have to advertise for the pool opening and, you
Okay.
know,
Okay.
try to get some business in, you know. And that,
Swim lessons and all that stuff.
yeah, you know, and I try.
Yeah, there's a swimming lesson advertisement this week.
So, you know, that, reason for that, because basically it took up every bit of my office. I bought, and if I need anything, paper or anything, I bought it myself, you know.
Okay.
Because I didn't have it, you know.
Other supplies and materials for the pool, that's your chemicals and all that, is $2,750. That's the same as last
Yeah.
year. You think you can get by? All right.
I hope, you know.
Total, bottom line, 51,436. Any questions? Any other comments you want to make, Esther?
No, other than, well, I've got a good staff of guards. And, matter of fact, the state man just come yesterday and checked me. And he said that in his territory, we had one of the best pools around out of his territory. It was maintained better, the water was better, it was just well-maintained pool. And I thank the guards for a lot of that. I don't count myself, I think the guard does a lot of that, because they,
How many lifeguards do you usually have here in
I
Salt?
use 3 at a time, but I have 7, 8 on, in the rotation.
Okay.
Then I'll have an extra in or two, because when you're dealing with kids, at a certain time of year, everybody wants to go on vacation, And so I reach out and grab 1 or 2 more that, I know is out there, but I don't have them on payroll all the time. You understand what I'm saying?
Diane said on Kevin's question, more than likely, either she took it out of the wrong line, or either it got taken out of the wrong line. But she said it could have, your permit might not have been paid for yet.
Oh, yeah.
It has?
Yeah,
Okay.
I done got it.
She said she would find out first thing tomorrow.
I gotta have that by 1st of March.
Gotta have that before you can open, don't you?
Yeah.
Anybody got another question about the community center budget for Estill?
Oh, for this year, it was took out wrong item. I remember it.
Okay.
But that's, it's neither here nor there. It's fine.
Thank you, Estill. I appreciate it, and we'll certainly take all that into consideration.
Okay.
And, we'll get, if we got any more questions, we'll get hold of you.
All right.
All right, rescue squad is next. Good evening, Tim. How are you doing?
Well, pretty good for being up for 29 hours.
Oh, man. Why didn't you tell me that
Crying ain't gonna get you
50
no money.
minutes ago?
Just a slave to the Vanderbilt. So, I pass these out here, pass them around. And I guess I have to share with you here, Tony. It should be saying.
We don't have any more.
We got it.
We got another.
Oh, y'all got
Bill's calling.
Need one?
All right, so this is the one time a year that we give a report basically to the commission and whatnot. And just to give you a reflection of the county's growth, which I'm sure you're very well aware of, there's 32% growth in the county's population in the last 20 years. I think there's about 14,000 vehicles in the county right now, or at least that's what's on the website that's showing that. The rescue squad is, I tell folks that it's not what we have, that's what we use. The squad is made up of the people that do the work. And so we average about 25 members and have for the last 20 years. The numbers fluctuate. I've seen it as high as 35 and as low as, into the teens, but we stay stable right around 25 members. About 40% of them have been on there more than 10 years. The next page over shows you kind of a breakdown. I got to bump up this last year into the 20-year or more service. So there's 5 of us now, or 4 of us that's got more than 20 years of service into the squad. And of course now Michael Underhill has been on the longest. He's not the oldest, but he's been on the longest.
He looks.
He looks it. If you flip over, there's 2 more pages there, and you see that these are the actual budgets from 2008 up till now, and you see our budget request. Our budget has been pretty flat for the last several years, and we didn't ask for any increase. We only have 3 line items. This year we're asking for an additional $7,500, and I'll explain how I got to that figure just in a second. $320 for in-service training. Last year we spent it on, or actually we've got folks going to rope rescue training at the end of this month. I used that money with some grant money that I've received from the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee to send some folks to rope rescue training and to purchase some equipment. Uniforms, that's how it's listed on your line item. That's personal protective equipment, jumpsuits, gloves, helmets, that sort of stuff. Communications equipment, that's been pretty flat, and that allows us to get about 4 or 5 radios and upgrade each. We've been consistently upgrading radios, but I know that you guys know that the communication system is changing over next year, so we'll lose some of our older equipment due to attrition of it basically just not going to work anymore. Now, the $7,500, if you guys remember, in 2007 and 2008 budget year, we came to you with a plan to get a new rescue truck. And that truck cost $60,000, and we asked the county for $10,000, and y'all gave it to us. We asked the city for a little bit more, or we asked for $5,000, they gave us $2,500. So, in that year, that was the 2007-2008 budget year. And we bought that truck in 2008. So $60,000 was the total cost of that. So you guys gave $10,000 on the project, which works out to be 16.7% of the total project. The city's percentage was 4.16%. So what I did was if you look over on the last page there, you'll see that we got some grant money and purchased that rescue trailer. That was about $20,000, and then took a couple thousand, strip it out, and other equipment there. And so we were online, and we had worked a target to purchase a new rescue truck to replace and be in addition to some equipment we already had, and that was going to be about $75,000. And we was going to do it over several years, whatnot. And we happened to find this truck that was bought locally from a dealer. It's an 08 model. It had 100,000 miles on it, and we got it for $23,000. And we think we got a pretty good price on it. So adding those two together, we were able to, by purchasing a used vehicle, we were able to save about $50,000. And so putting those two pieces of equipment together, that total comes up to $46,000. So what I did was I took 16.3%, which was just a little bit less than what you guys did in 07, and that comes up to $7,500. That's where I got that figure from. And then we asked the city for $2,000, which was 4.35% of $46,000. And according to the paper, they agreed to give us that money for that. So in 2007, we come up with $47,500 in grant money, donations, and fundraising. And so we paid 80% of the cost of that vehicle. 20% of it came out of tax revenue, meaning 16% from you guys, 4% from the county or the city, and we came up with the rest. So basically $48,000. So using those same figures, if you guys will budget that $7,500 plus the city that is already budgeted to $2,000, that'll leave us coming up with $36,500. Now, the reason we come up with this plan like this is we realized several years ago we can never get the amount of equipment that we need to do the job that we need to do by trying to get it all from the county, okay? Because I know where you get the money from. I done paid my money this year. So, but with using sound financial planning, not trying to get all the money from one location, but getting some from tax revenue, some from grants, some from fundraising, some from donations. we done proved to you that we can do it once. And we paid that was an $18,000 loan that Michael and I signed for that truck. And we paid that off. It was a 17-year note, and we paid it off in 2 years. So this here, if you guys will help us out with this, we can pay off this note probably at the end of this year if we have a good fundraising season this year. Michael and I signed the note for all this, so it's got to be paid for. And if the squad don't pay for it, me and Michael's got a brand new truck. That's all I do. Our 4-year-old truck.
That's a diesel truck too, so 100,000 miles ain't a lot of miles for
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, we really just got such a good deal on it. We bought, like I said, we bought it local from a dealer here, and just
Where
kinda
are you
happened up
housed
on-
in this trailer,
The trailer's down at the squad building.
squad building?
Yeah.
You got room for it?
Yeah. No. I mean,
It's
it's
outside of
just
it,
sitting
on the
there.
inside of it, yeah.
Oh, it's outside?
Yeah, we ain't got a
Inside
building
the
big enough to put
building,
it in. What's on the inside of it is that Ranger that I got on that 100% grant from U.S. Smokeless Tobacco back in '08. And so it's ready to go. All we gotta do is hook to it and go. We'd like to have it where it's already hooked up, but we ain't got a building big enough to put it in. If it wasn't for Fort Mountain housing one of our other vehicles, more vehicles would be sitting out, you know, so, which is, you know, we've talked about this over the years. You know, we've traveled around these other squads and they got nicer buildings, but you know, those buildings don't really save anybody's life. It's the equipment, you know, and so we've spent money on the equipment slowly and have built up better, we've got better stuff than, besides Murfreesboro, everybody else around us. It's happened slowly as a progression over the last 15 years, really.
And it's,
So we think that
and the County Rescue Squad is probably, is it 35 years old?
it's 1978.
78?
Yeah,
I was pretty close in one.
yeah. Yeah. Now, if you guys had to go buy everything that we own today, brand new, it cost you $476,400. That's what replacement cost is of everything that we own. And
And
we
your
just,
stuff always looks good and looks like it's been well maintained.
Well, it has to be,
I'll
you know,
compliment you on that.
well, thank you. So we don't think that this is an extravagant amount of money. I know that you guys are always looking to save money and trying to pinch as much as possible, but if this equipment will last about 20 years, and if you take that $7,500 and divide it out over 20 years, that's $375 a year. If you divide it out by the amount of calls that we used it on last year, and you know, sometimes after you build it, you find more reasons to use it. We've used it. We used it. Took the trailer and the stuff over to the fishing rodeo the other last weekend. We're using it for Red Apple Days coming up. We're using the Ranger, which like that wasn't even anything that the county put any money on, or we put any money on. We got that on a 100% grant. We're using that down at the football games to keep from having to drive the ambulance out on the field if a player gets hurt. It's set up, ready to go for search and rescue or mountain rescue or anything like that. So once again, I don't think that we have demonstrated that we're greedy here. I think we've demonstrated that we've got a sound plan to add equipment to the county for little cost to the taxpayer. Less than 20% of the total cost is to the taxpayer. And the rest is made up on grants, fundraising, and donations. And we believe in the project so much that, like I said, me and Michael signs the loans on this.
All right. Equipment work, y'all got a copy of our equipment equipment. When I turned in the fire department, remember?
The rescue squad was in there, yeah. Did y'all
Everything
see
we
that?
had, y'all got a copy of it.
Yeah, about every other year or so, I update the list and whatnot. Chuck helped compile the list this year. I've already turned that in to the insurance company so that he knows how much stuff we got and where it's at and all that sort of stuff.
Anybody else from the rescue squad wanna make a comment or? Well, I appreciate
I
y'all
wish,
working, and I appreciate you being here tonight too, because it shows that you've got interest in it and you want to keep working.
I'd like to make a comment to the board, which Jared Dowdy, I know Todd, I'm fully aware of, and Kevin and everything. Not only Cannon County personnel or citizens of Cannon County, we also have used our equipment, what we have, trailer, truck, get it there on out-of-county situations. We look at Center Hill on Dragon. I think we've been on Bedford County, probably not this particular trailer, but, you know, we've had to go there and, you know, be overnight searches and stuff like that. And when we do go, you know, it's good to take all your equipment with you and be prepared. You know, we're not Boy Scouts, but we still like the motto, to be prepared. Do so, you gotta have your equipment with you.
the
And if you go help them, they'll come help us if
Well,
y'all need them.
that's right, and kind of expanding on that, we've been a member of the Tennessee Association of Rescue Squads since the foundation. Now, every county around us is a member too. We got 0.6 square miles of waterway in Cannon County, so we really can't justify buying a boat. But there's 2 in Warren County, there's 2 in Manchester, there's 3 in Rutherford County. So by sharing resources within a region, we're able to decrease the amount of cost for each department, you know, and whatnot. So in this county, that's why we put money into this and have bought this equipment because we run more mountain rescue and search and rescue and cave rescue and stuff like that. So it's if Coffee County calls or Warren County calls or whatnot, we quickly take them what we got. Because if we ever needed anything they got, they'd bring it right down here.
Hey, man. Well, any
So I
questions?
wish y'all would ask some questions.
Bill?
Well, you've done a good job of explaining. We don't have, that makes you,
Yeah,
make you feel better.
you're
We
right there.
shouldn't have to ask. You've done such a good job explaining.
Well,
I got one. You said you turned everything into your insurance. Do y'all pay y'all's own insurance?
no, we used to be budgeted an amount of money.
Right, well, I know you didn't have it down here, that's why I was asking.
And it wound up to where it was I can't even remember how many years ago it's been. It's been maybe 8, 10 years ago. They rewrote the policy on the fire departments and whatnot, and it was cheaper to just put us in there and tag us along
Right.
with all the other emergency service departments than it was to give us money and us go get our own insurance policy.
Oh, okay.
So it was almost negligible,
Yeah.
what the extra cost was.
And a lot of your membership overlaps too,
Right.
you know.
Quite a few volunteers in the county, and, you know, and to get things taken care of, you gotta wear a different hat at different times, but, you know, doesn't mean, you know, when you go, you just have to perform as well.
That's right. Any questions, anybody? And how many members did you say you had?
I've got 25 right now.
25 right now. Okay. We'll certainly consider it, and I wish that you could we need to give the other commissioners that aren't here, need to have at least a copy of this also and a little explanation. Do you think, or do y'all think that Tim ought to make an explanation at this 29th meeting that we have, or is it going?
That ain't gonna be a special call meeting.
It's not gonna be a special
I mean,
call.
he'll be able to speak then. We should be able, we'll
I
hear.
think they need to hear it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I wish every commissioner was on the budget committee, and that way they could hear all this, because that way, you know. But
That's right. We've got a good rescue squad and had a good one for years. You know, way back when Wade Campbell and them, wasn't Wade in on the beginning of it? Somebody?
Yeah.
Wade Campbell was there, Albert J. Freeze.
I think it started when Joe Bryson hit the Stacy's out there on 53 that time. I think that's when it started, wasn't they Stacy's?
No, it was before that. It was before that, Kevin. If he started in 78, that was, Joe hit them, and see, Joe was
Well, that's probably the wreck that got it started, because they had to wait so long for somebody to come.
it was another wreck it started. You have to ask Roy Freeze, he'll know.
Oh, I'd rather not talk about it.
We still got the original Jaws. Everything else is
And the Young Farmers Group helped y'all buy that original Jaws.
yeah.
Because,
And,
from our tractor pool. You remember that? David George and them, and myself, and all of us was in that club.
One thing that I probably should mention too is I want to clear this, and I say we want to clear this loan up pretty quickly, because the 2012 crash standards, 12, 13, and 14 crash standards are making vehicles stronger in the B-post, which is the post that runs up beside the driver and the passenger on the vehicle. Our current set of cutters is not going to be able to cut into those vehicles. So we're going to have to probably purchase 2 more sets of cutters. And I think that we can do that over the next 2 to 3 years and upgrade our equipment. Our jaws are good. We've got 3 sets of jaws. Is that right, Michael? 3 sets, 3 power units, 3 sets of rams, 2 sets of cutters, and then some combination tools spread over 2 different trucks. Those 2 pieces of equipment is about $6,000 a piece. Once you buy them, they last for, like I said, we've got the original Jaws, you know. But once again, we can't do it all through standing out here with a bucket.
That's right.
And we realize we can't get it all from the county. So, kind of spreading it out.
That's a good point.
Well, I mean, you and Michael made that leap of faith of saying, you know, put your name on the line, but knowing you gotta pay for it if somebody else can, and that to me says a lot. I've been there and done that with volunteer organizations, and I guess that's awesome that you're there, and that's kind of what you're saying. Get this money so you can pay this off, and then you can probably turn around and put your name on the line again.
Yeah.
So Mark, I agree. I think for him to make a short presentation to the full commission would be beneficial.
I don't know if he can do it quite justice the way he has. I don't know that.
Yeah, that's, and you know, I think it needs to be heard by the rest of them. Especially if we recommend to them, you know, let's do this.
Because they'll be why.
They'll be wanting to know why, yeah.
That's
Can you
right.
make up enough pamphlets to give the rest of them?
You ain't gotta have many more.
3. Well, 4, no, 5.
5.
But let's do that on the 29th if we can.
28th.
Yeah, 28th, excuse me. Thank you. Yeah, I remember that
Not sure if
now.
I'm working or not, but if I'm not, I'll.
Between now and the 28th, get us just some more copies of this, and if you're not working, if you are working, you know,
Maybe Michael can do it,
Michael
yeah.
could do it. And,
But Thursday night?
yeah,
Yeah,
Thursday
Thursday
night.
night, yeah.
Tony needs to be on Thursday night so he don't have to miss work. That cuts into your budget too.
The main budget.
That's exactly right.
All righty.
All right, thank you, Tim, and thank you everybody else that's here from the rescue squad. Appreciate it. All right.
Make it down over there.
Tracy said Stan was on his way over. He was going to present their budget.
Okay,
So,
that's fine.
well, yeah, when they get done over, she said he was on his way over. So.
Let's hurry up, man.
Yeah.
The other ambulance is out, so I'm gonna go.
Okay, you gotta go. Okay, that's fine.
So you don't like, you look, sir. Steve, huh?
Where'd they go?
I don't know, they didn't tell me that, they just texted me.
Get up here.
Get out here, we're up for calls.
See you, Todd.
Well, you can set up here up for calls just as well as you can.
He can sit up here and listen to this stuff while I watch TV, can't he?
Let's look back over just a minute. Tracy, how long you think they'll be, Tracy?
They're locking it to lockbox, which shouldn't take much longer, but then he said something about Jody would have to retype the budget real quick, that shouldn't take it. So he just said he'd be over it. So, I don't know if y'all wanna wait on it or not.
What y'all want to do?
Well, we
It's up to y'all.
we got next week, anything? Well,
7:25 is what time it is.
We got schools next week?
I don't know.
No, they won't be ready.
It'll be July before they're ready, I would imagine.
Here comes Jackie right there.
That may
Here he
be.
comes,
Just
yeah.
in time. Just in time. You met the rescue squad going down the steps, didn't you?
Here, pull up a chair.
It said bring this to you, that's what
All
you
right.
need right there.
That's what we
Now, the
need.
blue is what we received back from the state.
Okay.
And we've changed this. That ain't 30, that's 30 hours.
It's supposed to be 30 right there.
Yeah, she didn't mark that out. But we cut it back to the 30, you know, like I
Okay.
said.
Give, can the other
My
one?
copy.
That's your copy, okay.
My ears itching.
But you need it?
No, I don't need it. I'm gonna pass this one around.
All right.
I tell you what page.
And, he talked to him today from the state.
Is it not?
He hadn't got this money yet.
Huh?
Okay.
I was thinking, it was the election not
Can
in?
you explain
Yeah,
that
for
one?
last
I've
year's,
listened to
page
them
12.
becoming in the
Page
county.
12,
Yeah. Yeah, 18,000 comes from the state for the
Right.
administrator salary and 15 from Auburntown and Woodbury City for holding their elections. I understand that. And also be getting 21,000 back from the state of Tennessee for the March presidential preference primary that goes back in county general. And I'll get some copies of this made for the rest of them.
I appreciate it. And you knocked that to 30, right? That's
I put that down to
okay.
30, yes, I put that down to 30.
All right.
And y'all assured her that this is 20,000, she's on salary now.
That's it.
So
That's good.
That's,
Tonight, as of tonight.
Yeah,
Okay.
we had a long discussion tonight.
You say.
I got involved, yeah.
Well, I appreciate,
But we had it in the meeting for the last meeting, but evidently everybody wasn't reading it. Right?
well, I'm sorry that you're having so much problem,
Well, I am too.
but I
think this will solve a lot of that.
this will
I think.
solve part of it.
Well, it won't solve all of
I
it.
appreciate you hanging in there, Jackie.
See y'all.
See you.
I guess you just, if you want to, just compare us. We don't have a copy of that. Just compare your
Okay.
their
It's on
budget.
page 12,
if there's any
yeah,
changes,
so-
compared the difference.
I'll note
Just
that.
make a note to them, and then we can, that way we can kind of go through them. Well, you don't have to have all the different
Page
copies.
12.
Red budget.
Yeah, I'm on the red one.
I just-
I'm
I
on
guess
the red one.
Make
I'm on
it-
the blue.
Make sure that everybody did recall that he did put
Okay.
she was going to be put on salary because that could be an issue.
52,865 is what it is, and that's set by the state. And the commission has a note, the election commission has a note over here that 18,000 of that comes back from the state
His salary?
of his salary, that's right. If we were decertified, they would not send that back. You know, he's got to do certain things, you know, go to that, you know, talk about going down there at national, that
Ethics
class,
class,
that's
yeah.
part of the things they have to do
Right.
to stay certified. All right, the assistant, they went from 19,500 to 20,000 and 30 hours a week on salary.
Okay, they said they're gonna keep it the same, they were
It
trying
don't
to
matter.
do a raise in case everybody else gets a raise, you know, the other county employees. And they figured it up and just said, just put down 20,000 and we'll
Well,
figure it
the
out later.
thing about the 30
That's
hours,
dependent
30
on
hours
y'all.
on a salary means nothing.
That's right, but that's much she has to
Yeah,
work
but
to
she's
collect her
over
salary.
there,
Okay.
Or
You
they
want
were
that one.
trying to take it back from Tuesday night and they told them they couldn't do that.
Overtime pay, $1,000, and last year,
That should be, this should be
and
zero.
187.
It should be zero.
Right, it should be zero for the next year because I think that's
Yeah,
where the
there won't be
overtime
any
came
overtime,
from.
yeah.
That's where the overtime came from the last 2 years is from this clerical
They
position
talked
here.
about that. I wish one of them had stayed. I didn't understand. what they're
That's the
using
only
that
place that
for.
the overtime should come from.
Is
Unless-
187.
it could come from the clerical position.
What I'm saying, there should not be any overtime.
Right,
She's
not now.
salaried.
She's salary now.
He's
Because
salaried.
the last 2 years, that's where the issue is in the
That the
overtime.
commission's overtime though, if they're
Yeah, I don't know.
for like special meetings or something.
Well, that would come out of, that would be a different line item.
Remember that.
What have they got that down for,
That's
Mark?
what it should be a different line item though for the election.
187. $1,000 on line item 187.
Remember that was the whole issue with Louise. They
Yeah.
were doing
It was
something with their
about
overtime
nighttime
or
is all
something.
it
And she
was,
was,
but I didn't understand it.
I don't know.
All right, the next line item is 192,
187.
180.
and that's for the commissioners' meetings and them working on 2 election days and the membership in the Tennessee Association of County Election Officials, 5,500, and last year it was 4,500.
On what line item?
192.
Election.
They're asking
And
for
it's
1,000.
55?
55 this time, that's right.
Okay.
All right. 30,000 for election workers. That's the same as last time. That's August and November 2012, election day, early voting, absentee, counting the board instructions, 2 technical programs, and the election day support. And that, they get $1,030 reimbursed from the state on that line item also. Line item 196 is 3,500. And that's down from, is that right?
46, yeah.
From
Yeah,
46.60.
on this one.
Yeah, that's showing, that's what it's showing.
Okay. And, if they think that they need this 187 to be bumped up from 366, what it was that last time, see there? Up to 1,000, and then they want to knock 1,000 out of in-service training, I have no problem with that. Social Security and retirement and insurance and Medicare are all subject to change as the salaries change. But they've got 45, let's look at them though.
Well, she said the
Starting with
problems weren't right.
201, starting with line 201, I'm just going to read the numbers they got down here. 4567, and then a 0 on 204. Insurance 5404.
I don't have a 204
I don't have
on my
204
paper.
either. That may be the reason why.
That's retirement, because they don't have, neither one of them are participating in that.
Oh, that's right, and it's required that they do that now,
Well,
isn't it?
so
They
explain
gotta,
that to Stan,
probably gotta
but he
show it
still says
there,
he
but they're not
refuses to
participating.
participate.
Wasn't that an audit finding though?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they have
They
all.
explained that too, but
You
he
had to,
still
I gotta
says-
show it somewhere, but to show you're not participating.
And then 205, insurance,
What'd you say 201 was?
201 is 4567.
But she said those amounts were based on 32, not 30 hours, but they told her. So those amounts are not right for Medicare.
So that'd be-
and all
Yeah,
that.
they got question marks on all these.
Yeah, that's why.
And if we adjust the salary back, the overtime probably even, it might adjust it, or they may not know the exact Medicare percentage. Employee insurance though was 5404. Last year was 4825. Diane's probably told them what it's going up. And then Medicare, 1,037, and this time it's 1,068. Line item 307, communication, 3,800. Is that the same?
35 what it was.
That's up 300 then. For phone, fax, internet, and tech support. Do you have a question, Tony?
$3,500 for phone and
38 now.
The actual.
And they got tech support from somebody though in on that, and that may be that internet tech support that they have to have on the,
Well, I know he has conference calls a lot too.
from the
so I don't-
people that furnish the voting machines or, service the voting machines.
so that's 3,800.
They got 3,800 there, and that's up from 3,500 last year. Legal notices, 6,000. And that's down from 7,450 last year.
6,000.
No,
They were-
6,000. It was 6,000.
they were estimating 7,450.
Estimating, they were spending 7,450.
But I guess they,
Okay, and they got a note here that they get 500 from the state for that. That takes care of their sample ballots in the cooler, advertising the early voting days, the hours, time, polling places, advertising the precinct and district lines. 334, contracted services.
Maintenance agreement.
It's under maintenance agreements
Yeah.
here. 14,185, and they've got it broken down here. $3,000 for tech support from, and then Microvolt gets, for designing the ballot, $7,120. NCA alarms, $200. Hargrove for their printer, probably $1,500. Miscellaneous services, $450. And Pitney Bowes, that's for printer, $625.
That's probably a postage meter.
Pitney Bowes is a stamp, yeah, it's a stamp.
Okay. That comes to a total of $14,185. Now, if we'll look back, that goes up and down too, according to how many elections you have.
Well, next year there won't be anything, will there?
Well, it may be, it won't go to zero, but it'll be.
No, what I mean.
It depends on how many elections you have. Maintenance and repair, the next line item is $337 for equipment, maintenance, $2,000. $1,200, yeah. Was it $1,200 last time?
That's what it says.
All right.
Postage, $4,000 is a request. It was $3,500. Printing stationery and forms, $2,500. They were $1,200, but they ended up spending more, didn't they? In that line item. Okay, travel, $3,300. It was $16. Custodial supplies, $250, line item 410. Same, $250. Office supplies, they're requesting $3,000 there. Office equipment requesting $2,500. For a total of $165,379.
I got a question real quick. Go back over the election workers, which is 193, and it's showing 30,000 for next year. And like I said, there's no election next year. And I understand you're going to have some left over from the rest of the year.
This is August and November.
Yeah, this will be an
Right.
August-November election this
Oh,
time.
it's just one, yeah, November.
August
And
and
August.
November.
Yeah.
That's it, right.
We'll be
Okay.
under this budget that we're considering
Yeah.
right now. See, we're,
Okay, that was my. That's what I thought. But I
Yeah.
wanted to make. I
Yeah.
was like, wait a minute, there ain't even going
This
to be
Yeah, I
next
know,
year.
yeah. I mean,
Of course, the November election, they'll get paid back by the state.
Right, and I know.
The August, they won't, yeah.
Right, county generals got ours. Okay.
and here's the notes at the end. And a total of the 165, 19,530 comes back from the state. We'll be receiving an estimate of $21,000 back from the state of Tennessee for the March 2012 presidential preference primary. That goes back into county general. They will be receiving that, and that's from this last budget.
But still, a $21,000 increase
Yeah,
over this year's estimate.
144 to 165.
21,000 something, give or take.
And the year before's actual was 149. And that was a year with, I wish I could go back 4 years and get a presidential primary. The last time I had a Super Tuesday and then an August and a November to sort of compare. It's not going, everything else is going up, but it's going to be less than 165, I know that. And I'll get this to Mike and have him make some copies of this before our next meeting.
the only thing I seen that really jumped looked like was his travel, and it's like doubled.
Yeah, and we've been cutting it every time, because they don't all go to those meetings. And the state of Tennessee's had a push to make sure that the elections are not getting people voting that are not supposed to vote, especially
Yeah, that's where the photo
Shelby
IDs.
County and some
voter
places like
IDs.
that have had what people consider voter fraud in the past. And so they made these blanket rules for the whole state, for every county. And therefore, they have put an extra burden on them to a certain degree. Any questions? Any comments? How do y'all feel about the 1.6 or the 3% increases for county employees?
Honestly,
Yes,
if our elected officials get it, I think the employees are entitled to it as well.
that's the way I feel too. And we've been so many years, I feel like at least they ought to get to 1.6. That's the
At least.
minimum.
I think it ought to be every time the elected officials get a raise, the employees ought to get the equivalent of what the elected officials get. If we'll do that, we'll stay in line. Of course, we're already behind.
Yeah.
I understand.
But we need to start that. Every time the elected officials get a pay raise, the employees ought to get the equivalent of what they get.
But
I
we're
started
going,
to say, I'd like to see them get to 3% myself,
I'd like to
since
see
it's
them
been so long
catch up
since
a
they've
little
had
bit,
one,
but
you know.
I
It's
don't
been,
think, you know,
what, 5 years, 6 years since they've
5
had a
years.
raise? 5 years
Yeah,
since they've
5
had a
years.
raise?
See them get a 10%, that way we give them 3% raise and the rest of the insurance first.
Yeah.
People don't have.
Yeah.
They put their lives on the line in this county every day. And, you know, we're ready to fight.
Just take 6.
it takes 6, that's right. And we need to, there'll be 5 of us plus Tony here if we can agree that this is the budget we're gonna present. You know, we're gonna have cackling from the peanut gallery, but
I cackled before.
we're gonna have to.
Cackle.
I'll put it to you this way. The only way I'll vote for a property tax increase is if it includes an employee payroll. And I'll tell you that straight up front.
Well, I want us to sort of have an agreement among ourselves on this committee, those of us that sit on the other committee also, that whatever we pass through here this year, we're going to vote for it without a lot of comment either,
What we agree on, that's what we need to agree on when we're presenting.
Yeah, that's right.
It does. I mean, it's y'all, because y'all are on the commission, you know,
But,
Bill and I aren't, but. it's
last
got to
year,
do.
I felt really bad that we passed something out of this committee and then didn't get the votes to pass it again. And we would be in less, we'd have less of a problem this year needing a raise if we had gotten what we asked for the first time last year. Now, the opposite side of the argument will say, oh, well, you got by, you didn't go down to 0. I reckon they want us to go down to 0.
Yeah, but here you are again, though, on the other side, looking for a raise again this year. That's 2
That's
years
right.
in a row. People
That's
gonna
right.
fuss about that more than they would have if you'd raised it more
Now,
last year than they would raise it 2 years in a row. I mean,
the way I feel, now, and I'm not, everybody doesn't feel this way, but this is the way Mark Barker feels. I could go through this and say, these deputies deserve this amount of raise, this line item, that line item, that line item. They deserve this much of a raise, say if it's $500 or whatever it was. The librarian deserves $400, $500, whatever I wanted to put on her, and then maybe everybody else get a 1.6. I could do that and justify it, if I could justify it in my mind, that these men are putting their life on the line and these people aren't. These people here have been here a long time. These are just hired on. I could go down through there and do that, but some people want to just go across the board and get everybody the same thing, and that's an easy way to do it.
It's a fair way.
But we're not elected to always make the easy decisions either.
That's why I said what I said the other night about the sales tax. Let's see if people will vote to tax themselves other than us having to do it all.
Well, I think the main thing with that is because I had somebody already ask me today about that, and I think this the way you spin that. There's a good side. There's good and bad to everything you do, but like I said, I understand this. I said that 50% of that money goes back to the schools, and I said that will not, in fact, relieve what they need. But I said that if you take, that'll take what tax burden, help take some of the tax burden off what we'd have to give to the school.
How many of y'all read the letter to the editor of the Courier?
Which one?
The fellow not readable that wanted us. There's a perception out there that there's still waste, and as if centralized purchasing would keep that waste from happening. You didn't read his, did
No, I haven't read it.
I don't get on
It's in there, just read it, and I wonder why that perception is out there.
Well, it's like,
I
for
mean,
instance,
they think that the fire departments, for instance, you know, that y'all willy-nilly run through too many gloves or too many turnouts, too many turnouts, you know, they'll say, well, hey, you bought them 10 turnouts last year and 10 the year before. How many do we need? Well, they don't understand that those things wear out.
well, it's kind of like Paul Alexander made here the other night at the meeting. He made the comment that there was stuff here at the courthouse that was paid for that still wasn't done. You know, where does he get that from? You know, what is he talking about? You know, that's just all he said. He didn't
Well,
say
he
what
may
he
be
was
talking about that little
or-
leak right over there. I don't know. They're gonna, you know.
We talked about that.
We have already talked, yeah, he wasn't here.
nothing to do
He wasn't here,
with-
but we talked about it, and they'll, whoever did it.
Mike wanted to transfer so much money into maintenance, building,
Building
repair,
repair.
whatever, and then get an estimate to fix it. And we told him to get an estimate first before we transferred any money.
That's right.
Because that had nothing to do with the courthouse revitalization.
Yeah.
No,
So see, I don't know, you know, it's just,
People make comments just out of the blue that have no basis in fact.
Y'all are paid the big bucks to listen to us.
But let me ask this question. Y'all be honest with yourself. How many of you done it before you actually had to sit right here at the table and look at the numbers and figure it out?
Probably so.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty.
And we have done it about the state too, of Tennessee.
Oh, of course we have.
You know, we'll go by and say, well, there's the state workers leaning on their shovels. You know,
Yeah, I wish I had their job.
and that's human nature a little bit.
Oh, it is.
Hey, Mark, on the fire budget,
Yes, sir.
we had that $7,000 line item there, you want us to check on?
Okay.
We feel like we could narrow it down about half price, about 3,500.
All right.
Y'all keep negotiating, get back with me.
So when y'all going?
That's what they told me Tuesday night. Now, Tuesday night, since Tuesday night's meeting, I called that company at Friendship.
Okay.
Them trucks, 2 out of 3 is gone.
Okay.
But he says he's got some more coming in, and he's gonna send me some more pictures of these 90-mile trucks. He said they're actually gonna make me a little newer trucks too.
how many did he say he had that you could pick from?
Well, he-
Oh, just
about-
3?
no, He said, I got pictures of about 9
Oh, okay.
that, Eastside gave me.
Right.
So when I called him, the pictures of the 9, there's 3 of them that he would sell for around 150 by what they've been up there
Yeah.
bargaining and
Yeah.
stuff, you know. Done told them about 65, you know,
Yeah.
a piece, and then they, I don't know where they got their authority to set a $150,000 price, you know.
Right.
That's what he told me today, that's what they were talking about. I didn't discuss no figures, you know, so,
You are the one with the authority.
yeah, and that's what I told him today.
I'm glad you did it. And I want to apologize to you. Tuesday night, I did not mean to, you know,
If you got
recognize somebody else when I might should have
paying
been
him $1,200.
recognizing you.
Use that $1,200 Chamber of Commerce to pay for your website.
Yeah.
No, you know, so.
And I wasn't
You
aware,
had to ask them, so.
yeah, I wasn't aware that they had not, you know, been in discussions with you also. So that's why I did that. And I'm sorry.
I believe I can
I couldn't answer
give
that question
his
if they
$10,000.
did.
Okay.
I wasn't involved in that. But this guy here, he's got another truck out of Pennsylvania that he'll be getting in sometime this week, and he's gonna send me more pictures of his truck.
Okay.
So, also, we've still got 2 other companies that we actually talking to right now too.
Is this that you talked about from 7,000 down to 3,500, is that line item 599?
Yeah.
Other charges?
7,000?
Yes.
Excuse me.
What page is that on, Mark?
18.
Another thing too, I called Mike on today about when we start looking at these trucks, who's gonna pay, where does the travel expense and stuff come out of? He said it comes out of the fire department budget. We ain't got no money in there.
You got a 0 for travel. Yeah, on your budget's got a 0 for travel.
Yeah, you know,
Well, how'd they do it before when they sent by Georgia?
he told me he took it out of the budget, fire department budget.
Well, I think.
But he says we didn't have no money, or whatever we had left over, we could take out.
You can slide it around.
We can take out what's left in, into this month, I ain't what it is, if there's any more left, we'll take it out next year's budget, is what he told me.
Okay.
So. he
So
said
that's
he'd pay for
7,035?
mileage And eats.
Yes.
Okay.
Mileage and eats. And motel required staying overnight. I don't plan on staying overnight, but I have to.
Y'all pull that big trailer down there and you put some cots in.
That'll make you gas. All right, anything else we need to discuss? Well, it's almost 8 o'clock. I appreciate everybody being here, and
Kevin, that just add another bill to the county, we have to pay for it.
Next Thursday?
no, we're gonna meet Tuesday next week. Is that all right, y'all?
I'm headed to.
You'll be here Thursday?
You're headed where?
Tybee Island.
Or are you gonna be here Thursday?
I never seen mine.
Should be, maybe, possibly.
The reason I said Tuesday is, do we
can't-
need,
I don't- I
let
can't
me ask you,
remember.
do we need Diane here to, on,
Well, we're getting, we're only got what left, schools? That's it?
yeah,
Is that it? All we're liking now?
that's all we like, is
And they
schools
won't
and
be
going,
here
and
next
going
week,
back over all this
Okay,
other stuff.
then that's where the only point
See,
we
we
need-
sort of need her
Right,
here.
that's when we do this.
When we go to, cutting this budget down, we need her here to make the note, to make
Yeah.
the,
To where she can make
Put
the
in the
final
computer.
copy.
Right. But the schools won't be here next week though, will they?
No, they
It'll be the week after,
That's
won't
right.
it?
Budget ready.
and she can be here on Tuesdays, but she can't be here on Thursdays.
I'm fine with Tuesdays, but I won't be here next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, you won't.
So, I mean, if y'all, want, I mean, that's fine, I mean, go ahead,
Well,
because
what if we skip next week since the school ain't gonna be ready anyway?
Since we're gonna be here in
the 28th,
the
Yeah,
28th,
schools-
what is next Thursday? What's
schools
next
won't
that'd
Thursday?
be the
Next
21st.
Thursday, 21st.
21st.
I can't be here next Thursday myself.
Schools
I got
have
vacation Bible
reconvened. They won't be meeting again until, I believe it's the 28th.
It'll be July before we get there.
We need to study this
to
budget
finalize their
for
budget.
2 weeks.
It'll be July before they.
Don't you think so,
Yeah.
Kevin? And then we'll meet on we'll skip next week, but we'll meet on Tuesday of the next week. So Diane can be here, that'd be the 26th.
Okay.
And then maybe on the 28th, we'll be able to at least tell the other commissioners, yeah,
Well,
we're,
that's not, the books should be close enough to be closed, and that's when we do our amendments anyway, so the books will pretty much be closed.
we'll
All
know.
except for the school, yeah,
Right.
that'll be.
So, for the, all of the,
26th.
the 26th on Tuesday,
What are we doing on the 26th?
It just reiterating.
we're
the
going,
budget,
we're going to go back over the budget and start making our cuts.
Final decisions, I guess.
Bring the
Decisions on the request.
Don't say cuts. Some
Exactly.
people don't like cuts. We'll make decisions.
Well, some like cuts, some
We'll
don't.
say decisions. Cuts are bad when somebody wants more. Cuts are good when somebody don't want to spend more.
Well,
But
see, when Paul Alexander came to the meeting, I looked over at Mike Gann, I said, I didn't say anything in the news about budget hearings. What's he here doing? What's he doing here?
I just wish he would